I just love getting up in the morning, go to my email, see what amazing people have contacted me overnight, contact them, talk to them, plan together how together we are going to capture synergy and make a positive change in the world. Why would I want to do anything other than that?
Welcome back to another episode of the Succeed Against the Odds show. Today I have a very special guest, Roger Killen. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Roger, you are an epic event producer.
Yes?
Yes, you put on these amazing events. And for our audience sake, for people who may not know you, can you please share with us what got you into creating events in the first place and what's different about your events?
This is quite a long story.
We're here.
All right. So I turned 60 in the year 2010, and I was looking for a retirement project, something to do for the next 40 years. And I happened to go to a meetup, and there was a lady speaking about each one of us having, her terminology was a unique pillar of genius. And on the way home, I had this flash, this thunderbolt from the sky, which caused me to realize that my unique pillar of genius was organizing events. And in fact, my first memory in life was organizing, I was probably 3 or 4 at the time. I was organizing a go-kart train around my parents' double garage. And ever since then, somehow I've been the one who's organizing the birthday parties and organizing the corporate events. And I just didn't realize before that flash that my unique pillar of genius was organizing events. Shortly after that, I found myself in the audience of a TEDx event. And I thought, this is amazing. This aligns with my values. I like what they're doing here, only I can do it better. That then triggered an application to start my own TEDx event. Event number 1 took place in 2013. It was called TEDxStanleyPark. Then event number 2 took place in 2015, 16, 17, and 18. And my last event was in my last TEDxStanleyPark event was in the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in downtown Vancouver to an audience of 2,200 people to rave reviews. And that is how I got into the business of organizing epic events.
So for someone who is listening to you, it's like, okay, that's easy for you to say, Roger. It just sounds so simplistic. Putting on, it's TEDxStanleyPark, one of the largest ones, correct?
It's one of the largest TEDx events in the world now, yes.
So it sounds very simplistic. Oh, well, I started here and then I just did this and then 2,200 people. Like there's a lot that goes on preparing something of that magnitude and keeping up with the standards and even surpassing, because I've been at the TEDxStanleyPark and there is a very, very high quality. The standards are really high. That's something that I noticed. So what would you say to someone who's like, I would love to do something epic like Roger and feels overwhelmed by it? What's the secret of making it so successful?
95% of the world cannot do what I do, and I can't do what 95% of the world can do. The reason that this to me is easy is because it is my unique pillar of genius. Now, some people will call that your purpose, some people will call it your why. There's many different names for it, but each of us have got something inside us that makes us unique and special, and stuff that is really hard for me to do. Bookkeeping, is really easy for a whole pile of other people to do. So the whole key is to find that thing that we are really, really good at. Ideally, we find it as early in life as possible, and then we just hone those skills, get those 10,000 hours of experience, become amazingly good at it, and then roll it out into a grand scale if that is what's important to you. So if you ask me, with my clearly defined unique pillar of genius, what makes me good at doing epic events, there's a whole pile. Once you've got clarity around that why, that purpose, then there's a whole pile of earning the right. And that's called experience. And you make all sorts of mistakes on that hard anvil that is called experience. And then with the passage of time, Malcolm Gladwell said it's 10,000 hours. I can believe that because I only now feel really confident and competent at putting on a multi-thousand person event to an extremely high standard. And this is year number 5 for me, doing TEDxStanleyPark, 2,000 hours a year, 5 years, there's my 10,000 hours. And so it's the combination of these two things working synergistically together to produce an amazing talent that is you.
You said so many good points in that. So one is the clarity part. Like, you have to have that vision. You have to know exactly what it is you want in the end. You have to have that experience. You didn't just start one day and say, okay, I'm going to do this. You had all those years of doing events before you did Stanley Park. I don't know. Do you think that if you hadn't done events before, you would have felt comfortable enough to take on TEDx?
What triggered my taking on TEDxStanleyPark was my awareness that I was really good at my awareness around my unique pillar of genius was organizing events, and the fact that I discovered this event that really aligned with my core values and that I saw myself doing for a long period of time because it had that alignment with those core values. One does not exist by itself. It was the synergy of the two coming together that made TEDxStanleyPark the powerhouse that it is today.
But you also said you don't like bookkeeping, so there are people that are good at bookkeeping, and when we create events, we're not good at everything that is involved in organizing events. So a lot of that you must have delegated as well, like certain aspects of the planning, right?
There's about every event, from a wedding to a birthday party to a music festival, has about 30 elements. And there's many of those 30 elements that none of us are very good at, and they change individual to individual. Media relations and bookkeeping are two of the 30 that I avoid like the plague because I'm really bad at them. But there's others that I'm really good at. And so it's important to recognize what you're good at and what you're not good at. And if your standard is excellent or higher, then delegate out those things you're bad at to those people who are really good at them in order to maintain that standard of excellence. It's getting to know yourself. And generally you don't know yourself until you have tested yourself, put your feet in the fire and say, oh, I don't like this heat. And then you pass the coals on to somebody else and move on to doing more of what you are uniquely great at doing.
Great advice. Great advice. And now you are launching a whole new event.
Yes, I am.
Here in Vancouver. Can you share with our audience? Because I don't know much about it, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's a social enterprise, which means a for-profit business with a strong social motive. It's a social enterprise that wants to harness the power of inspiring short talks and produce and distribute those short talks such that the world gets to hear them, and it's an antidote to the bad news, the sad news, the fake news, the violent news that we are subjected to 2, 3, 4, 500 times a day, and which has resulted, in my opinion, in humanity being not being in a very good mood right now. Let's rejuvenate those spirits. Let's give people reasons to raise a flag for humanity, and then I think we will be able to address some of our common problems in a much more positive frame of mind. And when humanity does that, when humanity combines in a spirit of cooperation and determination, we can conquer all. We can beat global warming. We can beat the rise in the oceans. We can beat plastic contamination in the Pacific Ocean. We can beat homelessness. We can beat every one of humanity's ills, so long as we have the political will and the determination to do so.
So how often, and can you share a little bit about, are you open to sharing what the format's going to be like? How many speakers each time? How often it's going to run? Is it a yearly event?
So you'd like me to tell you a little bit more about Get Inspired?
Yeah, we wouldn't.
All right.
So it's called Get Inspired, right?
Well, the company's name is Get Inspired Talks, Inc. Get Inspired Talks, Inc. runs events at which inspiring short talks are produced. By 2030, the goal is to be in 400 of the world's largest cities and run at least 2 events per year in each city with at least 10 speakers at each event. When you do the math, you'll realize that's 12,000 speakers a year who each produce a very high quality, inspiring short talk with a message that's intended to activate people to actually do something to address some of humanity's tough problems. Each of those 12,000 videos our goal is to be watched a minimum of 100,000 times. And when you do the math, that comes to 1.2 billion video views a year. And when you have 1.2 billion, an army of 1.2 billion people who see things that inspire them, you can be assured that action is going to happen that's going to move the needle somewhat towards producing a better world for us all. So that's the goal. We start in Vancouver. The first event is at the Trade and Convention Center in downtown Vancouver on Saturday afternoon, October the 20th, 2018. The audience is intended to be about 1,000, 10 speakers, diverse range of topics, and everyone will leave the venue pumped, inspired, rejuvenated, and with clear calls to action so that they know they do A, B, and C that evening, and they'll start the ball rolling on addressing some of humanity's problems.
That is fantastic. So is this going to be, I'm guessing it's not going to be you at all these locations. So will it be franchised? Will it be licensed? How is it going to be?
I have, how do we work in 400 cities around the world is the question. I have looked at the franchise model, the license model, the employee model, and the model I'm liking most is the contractor model. So I would need to find Mr. or Ms. Right in after Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and so on. And if I can find Mr. or Ms. Right in each of those cities, then I would work with that person in order to replicate Vancouver's results, Vancouver's successes in their city. And then over time, there is this large group, 400 contractors around the world. And you can rest assured when we are all working in a spirit of goodwill to help each other, help the world, the events will only get better and better and better as we learn from each other how to do things, do every aspect of the event, from seating to ticketing to speaker training to speaker selection, to video distribution, video shooting. The list of to-dos is endless, and if we can ratchet up the excellence in each one little by little, within a very short period of time, we will have moved from excellent to something a little bit higher. But the goal at the beginning is excellent. That's the baseline. Everything about what we do is destined for excellence.
That is awesome. That's quite the vision.
Yes, it is.
And I know you can do this.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's my unique pillar of genius.
It's very, very exciting.
And I've done my 10,000 hours.
You've done your 10,000
hours. Rest assured that anvil of experience was very hard and very cold.
You also have a group that you run on a weekly basis called the Vancouver Business Network. So It's a meetup group, which I attended this week.
You did?
And it was my first time there, and I was very impressed on how well run it is and how professional, and it just seemed to hit the spot in everything that's needed in a networking meeting. So I was very impressed by that. What inspired you to do that for entrepreneurs? Because that's very different from Get Inspired and from the TEDxStanleyPark.
Actually, it's not. It's driven by the same motive. Why am I doing events? Be it TEDxStanleyPark, Vancouver Get Inspired, Vancouver Business Network. It's all to provide information in a way that people can hear it, because until they hear it, they aren't going to take action around it. And information by itself is pretty close to a waste of time. You have to do something with that information, and so everything I'm doing about events is really intended to deliver information to open minds that are receptive, that are thinking, that are wanting to do things better for themselves, for humanity, for their families. My job is simply to be a catalyst of sourcing the information and finding a way of delivering it such that it can be heard, which means it generally has to be delivered by a competent speaker in an inspirational way, and then I maximize my probability that people will take action. And that is the same for TEDxStanleyPark, the same for Vancouver Business Network Meetup, and the same for Vancouver Get Inspired.
So the thread is common all the way across.
The thread is delivering information in a way that can be heard in order for that information to be activated, to activate the listener, to take action and do good stuff, do good things.
It's fantastic. That shows a good heart.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what does Roger do for fun? Outside of all the events, don't say the events.
The events are what Roger does for fun.
Outside of the events, what does Roger do for fun?
I will repeat. my 16-hour working day. I do it because I love to do it. I get to meet the most amazing people. Here I am being interviewed by one right now. A mover and shaker in the world. Every one of my speakers is a mover and shaker in the world. They have good hearts. They want to make a positive difference. Why would I want to spend a minute doing something like playing golf or ballroom dancing or fly fishing?
Hey, what's wrong with dancing?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with dancing. I spent 12 years as a competitive ballroom dancer.
Are you serious? Really? We're finding things out about you that we did not know. Okay.
I stopped 10 years ago, and a couple of years after that is when I realized what my unique pillar of genius was. And since then, organizing events has just taken over life. And now I can do that because I don't have a significant other. I don't have any plants. I don't have any pets. I live in a very easy to take care of condo overlooking English Bay on the one side, Stanley Park on the other side. I love where I live. I'm not a great traveler. Every time I travel, I'm so happy to come back to Vancouver, to my condo. I just love getting up in the morning, go to my email, see what amazing people have contacted me overnight, contact them, talk to them, plan together how together we are going to capture synergy and make a positive change in the world. Why would I want to do anything other than that?
And that's called passion. That's really, you're living your passion. You're doing something you're so passionate about, it doesn't even feel like work.
Yes, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Particularly when you don't get paid for it. It has to be pretty darn passionate.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? What would you like people to know about Roger?
Well, what I'd like you to know about you, Mr. and Mrs. Audience, is the sooner you can find that unique pillar of genius, and I didn't find it until I was 60, but the sooner you can find it, the sooner you can really, I'll use the word exploit in a nice way. I don't mean take advantage of. I mean become really, really, really world-class good at it. And then assuming you have a good heart and you want to change the world, you want to make for better families, you want to solve humanity's tough problems, the sooner you can identify and harness the power of your unique pillar of genius, you will have on your hands an instrument called you that will do that effectively and efficiently. So good luck with the journey.
And everyone has a pillar of genius.
Everyone has a unique pillar of genius. You just got to find it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so obvious we trip right over it. We can't understand. Why does it take somebody a year to organize a wedding? I could never understand this, but now I can, because they're not an event organizer. They don't have the skill set that I have. And why can somebody look at a set of books and 3 hours later they're done? Well, I spend 3 months regretting it and fretting about it and procrastinating around it and end up with nothing. It's just because we recognize our unique pillar of genius and go harness its power. And the earlier you can do that in life, the happier the life, the more fulfilling the life, the more rich your life will be, and the more you will make a contribution.
That is so powerful. And I love how you said, it can happen at any time. For you, it happened at 60.
Yeah.
So it can happen at any time. But if you start looking for it, it will reveal itself if you don't know what your pillar of genius is right now.
Yeah.
Like you have to keep
your
eyes open.
Yeah.
And I believe opportunities are in front of us every single day if we pay attention.
Absolutely.
And it really breaks my heart. It's easy from the outside to see other people not see. And it breaks my heart when I see someone who's got so much potential self-sabotage and totally blind to the opportunity that is right in front of them.
Yeah.
Any suggestions for people that self-sabotage? Would you have any?
No, but here's a suggestion as to how you can maybe get a clue as to what that unique pillar of genius is. Talk to your 10 closest friends and ask them to give you feedback on when they have noticed you to be most happy, most joyous. And you are probably going to find there is a thread that as you are exercising your unique pillar of genius, which you don't even recognize, that there are circumstances that are the same. So all your friends have observed you performing at an amazing level, being happy in the process, being fulfilled in the process, and the circumstances are related, if not identical, and that will help you focus in on what others see to be the unique pillar of genius in you. Because it is when you are in that state of mind, when you're in that mindset, that you are functioning in you're functioning as your unique pillar of genius.
Great advice.
So go looking. Ask your friends. Swap with your friends. You observe for them, they observe for you. Together, find each of your unique pillars of genius. And once you do, you will never go back to self-sabotaging behavior, because your unique pillar of genius will take over your life.
It's true.
So be on guard.
It is so true. So much wisdom, so listen carefully and pay attention to what Roger's been saying, because
So
it
much
is true.
youth, so much wisdom.
It is, and it sounds simple, but it is so powerful to just do that. Talk to the people who are closest to you. They will tell you what you can't see in
Yeah.
yourself
Oh, yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
So, Roger, if our audience wants to follow you, wants to know more about the fall event and what else you're up to, where's the best way to get in touch with you and follow you?
Well, I'm a kind of an old sort of a guy, so I'm a telephone guy. So my phone number is 604-408-0888. My email is rogerk@getinspiredtalks.com.
So getinspiredtalks.com is
.com.
the website for the...
Right now it's a landing page. It will evolve into a full website. And then the website design is such that over time it will allow people in other cities to use exactly the same website, customized for their own city. They provide the images and whatnot, and at a central level, we will help them build their website. We'll help them with ticketing. We'll help them with other functions that will make their lives easy in their cities. Yeah. So by July, our speakers will have been chosen. They will be each of them will be shooting a what we call an explainer video, which is a 30 seconds of here's the speaker saying what they're going to be talking about. So you get to know who the speaker is, you get to know what the subject is, the speaker resonates or doesn't resonate with you, and if enough of them do, hopefully you will give us your time and trust on Saturday afternoon, October the 20th, and buy a ticket. Don't know yet what the ticket price will be, and come and join us. Be inspired. Be inspired to take brave actions that will positively impact the world.
And you can fly in, and there's a hotel right there in the same building, so you can come
Yes,
from
there is.
anywhere and attend.
Well, actually, you'll be able to attend for free online via live stream. But of course, it's a different experience when you're sitting in the audience picking up the vibe. And the vibe will be pretty powerful.
That's cool. Live stream.
Yeah, live stream. And if you wait for 4 weeks, then you can see the video free on YouTube, on the Get Inspired Talks channel, YouTube channel.
Oh, this is awesome. So check it out.
Yes, 2 ways to come free. 1 way to come and be live and in person in real time, sitting in that audience, picking up the vibe.
Oh, thank you so much, Roger.
My pleasure.
It's been awesome.
You want to shake hands?
Yeah, let's. Oh, I give you a hug. I give a hug to my guests.